And kick off the meeting. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening around the world. My name is Doug Brunke, and with Gunjan Bagla, it is a little bit early here. It's 5:30 in the morning, but we're alive and alert and very interested in the conversation we're going to be having today. We have at least four speakers and who will be sharing different opportunities that are in India, including we're going to be talking about Export League and rolling that out in India this year. If you don't mind, I'd love to start with Gunjan. Gunjan Bagla, who is the preeminent expert on business between India and the US and India and the world. Gunjan, you've been very busy already this year giving presentations on what's going on. So you're right on the head of everything that is India and what some of the opportunities are. Would you mind introducing yourself and also just letting us know what should we be thinking about India right now?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Doug, and good evening to everyone who is joined from India. Is there anyone from else from the US or another country, Doug?
I don't know. I haven't
Okay,
looked, but I'll check to see
okay.
as we go through.
So, as Doug mentioned, I'm also based in Los Angeles, and for over 20 years, I've been running a company called Amrit, AMRITT. Of course, everyone in India knows what that means, and it's been a fun journey. We've been responsible for the R&D centers that is run by Medtronic in Hyderabad now. We are currently importing millions of dollars of heavy water from the Indian government, working with the folks at the Heavy Water Board and the Department of Atomic Energy. Uh, we help American companies to sell their products in India and many, many other things. Uh, so what Doug was referring to is that on Saturday, I was a speaker at the India conference at USC, the University of Southern California, and on stage with me was the Consul General of India for this area, Dr. Srikar Reddy. And then late last evening, which is why I'm looking a little beery, the World Affairs Council of Orange County here had asked me to put together an event on the implications of India and the India-US relationship on the broader Indo-Pacific kind of situation. So this last 2 weeks has been full of news about India. I'm sure everyone on this call knows that Foreign Minister Shankar had a front row seat in the inauguration of President Trump, and Secretary Marco Rubio, who's the equivalent of the foreign minister, right, the Secretary of State, one of his first meetings was with S. Shankar, who also later on met the House Majority Leader, the House Speaker of the House, I should say, the Senate Majority Leader, the National Security Advisor, the eh, suggested head of the FBI, and a number of other top officials. India has typically not gotten this kind of attention so early in any administration. Much of that attention is positive, not all of it. So we will see how this rolls out. Uh, the opportunities that exist today for business collaboration, since the Global Chamber is all about business, I think are greater than ever before. Uh, Certainly, Indian companies that are willing to step up to offer global quality at global prices have a great opportunity to increase their exports to the US. Okay. And it's been, for me, it's been a little frustrating because the opportunity exists, but many Indian companies aren't really willing to step up and, match Chinese prices and deliver that kind of quality. So if you know of people who can do that, then we can, certainly drop me an eye line and we can figure out how we can increase their business. Okay. There's also an opportunity for Indian entities to benefit from American technology because the US has become far more open to sharing sophisticated technology and allowing those licenses to to Indian companies or Indian buyers in defense and security for sure, but in many other fields as well. So let me stop there, Doug, and of course I'll be happy to take questions whenever you're ready.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, definitely. Please unmute yourself or raise your hand and let's get to any questions that you might have. Just as a table setter, you've reached the Global Chamber. We are in 525 chapters around the world, and India and Africa over the next decade for us will be highest priority areas because of the growth opportunity, because of what we expect to happen, and influence. And we believe in India, we believe in the opportunity there, and that's why we meet once a month. That's why we're focused in on this year building out the chapters of Global Chamber across India. Gunjan Bagla, thank you so much for your expertise and sharing today. Are there any questions for Gunjan?
Yeah,
Oh,
Gunjan,
Gunjan,
what kind
thanks, Ketan. This is Manoj here.
Nice
Hey,
to see
Lovely
you
Manoj.
meeting
again,
you.
Manoj, back from Switzerland.
Yeah, thanks. It was lovely and it was great. So the buzz was all about AI and, largely. And of course, last 2 days, what happened from the Chinese perspective is a different subject altogether of discussion. So thanks, Doug. And Gunjan, good to hear from you. My only thing was one thought process while you were sharing. Of course, the Trump administration coming in with daily executive orders, there's obviously going to be disruption, uncertainty in that whole thing. But I think with the Modi visit coming up and our relationship is going to be pretty stable in that sense. It's my feel. My question would be, or rather, thought process would be, can we as global chambers to give benefit to our members, probably streamline or narrow down certain verticals, because the way I feel it, when we're going very horizontal, that everything we can connect, that might be a good solution to have. But the more verticalization we could do, for example, AI, in terms of AI startup, healthcare startup, for example, okay, they're looking at handholding there, or fintech, or life sciences company, pharmaceuticals, for example, they're looking at. So I feel if we can slightly verticalize it and say, okay, now in India, if a pharmacy company or life sciences want help, these are the following areas we can help you with. Okay. So, Doug, just to give an example, I'm forgetting the name. Was it Stephanie Vogel? The two ladies who run this organization who help
Yeah,
healthcare people to really get into the full mode, and they have a full module program. So,
yeah.
can that something like that be created? Then we know we have case studies, success stories, or specific wins for our members and for global chamber, and probably honestly do a fee structure, because people are willing to pay even for kind of advisory. I'll just pause here.
So, there's certainly many verticals that I think are rife with opportunity. So if you're looking at exporting from India, life sciences broadly, and it's not just pharmaceutical companies, it's people who offer preclinical research in India or human clinical trials. All of those are great opportunities. Um, Again, the filter we have to apply is companies who are willing to work in the American way, which means that they have to be responsive, they have to be transparent when there's a problem, they have to be willing to work with global standards and not cut corners. So if there are those kinds of companies and are willing to invest. I'm not talking about investing in a factory or an office in the US, but invest in advisory services. You know, certainly there's a market. We are currently working, Manoj, with a number of these types of companies which are getting business from the US because of our expertise. Okay. Uh, the other aspect is reversing the roles here. Companies in India who can be good at distribution and building markets. So the two areas that I can mention right off the bat is anybody in consumer products. Okay, you know, American brands are valued in India. American culture is valued in India. Uh, but distributors who can work with distributors and importers who can work with US brands to bring them to India, whether it's in the nutraceutical space, which is things that are not drugs but are regulated by FSSAI, so it's easier to get them approved in India, and they improve your health or wellness. That's a big market, but also personal care products, beauty products, even home care products. All of those, particularly now that those can be sold by e-commerce, I think there's a huge opportunity in India that most American companies haven't realized. But we struggle to find high quality distributors who can bring those kinds of things in a reliable way, who understand how to move the levers of e-commerce for imported products. Okay, defense will continue to be an opportunity. There's been a little bit of a slowdown in defense acquisition by India from the US, but I'm sure that when Modi ji arrives in Washington, which may happen as early as next month, according to Trump yesterday, okay, uh, one of the things that he will be asked for by the Secretary of Defense, by Marco Rubio in state, and definitely by President Trump is, hey, you've got to step up your acquisition of defense products from the US. There's already stuff in the pipeline. I'm sure you people know the General Atomics drones and the jet engines from GE that HAL is supposed to manufacture. But there's a lot more potential for offering better protection to India from the both maritime and land threats that India faces. American technology is well tested in battle. It's highly regarded all over the world. Of course, we all know that. But again, opening up those doors to be able to bring things to India, I think. So anyone who understands the Home Ministry and the Ministry of Defense, might have an opportunity there. I could go on and on, but those are some that just come. It's early in the day. My brain isn't fully functional right now, and I was awake until very late last night after my talk. But those are areas that are examples. If anybody else has a particular vertical they're interested in, I think we can discuss that too.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I think there was another question.
Yeah, I'm
Thank you,
Shankar,
Manoj.
and based out of Ahmedabad as the executive director for Global Chamber. We have been in touch on and off.
Is this Shankar?
Yeah, hi.
Hi, yeah.
Hi, Shankar. You're very low volume.
So, there is the semiconductor semicon coming up in Gujarat in a big way, and they're planning expo. I know that Phoenix is the center of semiconductor, and I wanted to actually create something that can have a bilateral trade agreement or a sister city collaboration. I can take it to the government here. What are your thoughts on that? Can we work something on those lines? It's in March, it's going to take place.
Right. So you're talking about a sister city agreement between Ahmedabad and Phoenix. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, we can exchange know-how, and we can have something like a lot of global leaders coming up for the event and those kind of things. If a formal presentation is made, I can take it to the government and get things moving.
What date is this convention?
I think it's in March, third week.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Do send me the details on that, Shankar. And as far as the sister city agreement with between Phoenix and Ahmedabad, I think Doug is probably much better suited for that. I'm happy to support it. Here in Los Angeles, we have a sister city agreement with Mumbai, and it does play out. People from the city of Los Angeles administration visit Mumbai, and I think vice versa as well. So there's good opportunity. My first thought is, how will Phoenix benefit? We know how Ahmedabad will benefit. Okay, I'm little unclear on how Phoenix would benefit, because Phoenix is really looking, from whatever I've seen, I've spoken at Doug's Semiconductor Summit twice, and they're really looking at massive investments from Taiwan coming in into the tens of billions of dollars. I don't know whether Indian companies are ready to do anything in the US yet. Okay, it seems to be all about doing things in India. So give that some thought, because the city of
Okay.
Phoenix will want to know that. Yeah. Now, the opportunity for semiconductor growth in India is, of course, huge. My friend Hem Takiar is deeply involved from Micron. He was my classmate at IIT Kanpur. He's a senior exec at Micron Technology, which is working on this, almost $4 billion initiative there. Much of that, of course, has been funded by the government of India and the state of Gujarat. So they got a very, very good deal. Okay. But for everyone's benefit, all the news from India says they are making chips in India, and that's a little bit of a stretch, because all they are doing is assembly, test, and packaging. But that alone amounts to a gigantic amount of money. The wafers themselves, I think Tata is the one company that is going to set up a wafer fab. So there is more potential there, but those things take 5-10 years to develop. So if there are other opportunities there, here in California, we have plenty of chip-related companies, and I'm happy to help out, in any way. Does that answer your question, Shankar?
Yes, Gunjan, I got it. In fact, I think I met your friend at one of the meetings. I don't remember his name, but he said he's from California, and he's also the vice president of Asia. He operates out of Singapore and California on Micron.
Yeah.
And they were suggesting that more than actually looking at the chip manufacturing, all the technology, they said there is a lot of opportunity to start infrastructure development around the place in Sanand, because they'll be having thousands of people coming and working, and they would need all kinds of support structures.
Yeah.
That is one. And going by narrowing down, like what Manoj says, what is the real, deal that we can crack? I got a friend, he's started this wellness company, and he's got a lot of these vitamin E, vitamin D3, K2, and all those kind of things. And he was asking me, is there a way to penetrate US market? Is that something that we can closely work with? Then I can bring them on and write a letter, introduce him, and see how it works. I want your suggestion exactly how the consulting would work, because I can make the connection, but what kind of nitty-gritty stuff into signing up a company, taking it forward, how does that whole dynamics work? I will take it offline and see how we can really coordinate some deals of that sort.
Sounds great.
Thank you, Shankar. And I'll introduce you to the head of Sister Cities for Phoenix. They are interested in India. She told me what they were doing, but I don't remember what the details were. And so happy to help. They are interested in India very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doug. Thank you. I will write and look up the Division of Technology Division Gujarat and take it forward.
Thank you, Gunjan. Thank you, Shankar, and thank you, Gunjan. Are you able to hang on, Gunjan, while we have the additional conversations?
Sure, I'm going to turn off the camera,
Okay.
but I'll be on.
Very good. Thank you very much. Let's next go to Vinay Kulkarni. Vinay is a longtime member, someone I've known for many, many years, and his take on Dharmic connection to business, I think, is very significant and very important. And so we asked him to talk about that today. Vinay, great to see you. Looking forward to hearing more about your perspectives. I love the direction that you're going these days, and we'd love to learn from that. Are you available to share?
Yes, absolutely. So thank you very much for this opportunity. And so I've been, so I do a whole bunch of things. I have a management consulting firm called Alchemy, but also e-commerce technology firm called Ecom Elephant. But then, over the last few years, been doing a lot of thinking, which you can't, when we're used to categorizing everything. Okay, if I say gravity, you'll say that's physics. You know, if I say something, you'll say that's chemistry. If I say something else, you'll say that's manufacturing. So we're
Uh-oh, that's not good. Let's see if he comes back. As soon as he disappeared, I see Aparna on my screen. So how are you, Aparna? You're going to be the next speaker.
Yeah, I'm very well. It's good to see you too, Doug.
You too as well.
Yeah.
I presume Vinay will be right back. But
yeah,
if
here. So sorry, I
okay.
got kicked out, and then it brought me back in. So so when I started, thinking cross-functionally, across various disciplines of knowledge, and um, I do work in a lot of different fields. I started seeing the underlying unity of everything, and also over the years, I've been meditating since 2008, and it felt like suddenly there was a breakthrough. Are you able to hear me, Doug?
Yep, we can hear you. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So it suddenly felt like there was a breakthrough, and I started getting these insights. And there was an academic conference where they asked me to write a paper on a framework for professional ethics, based on Indian knowledge systems. A lot of research is going on in ancient Indian knowledge systems in India right now. So when I started working on that, a whole new world opened up. So I'll just quickly take you through this. Jem has told me I have 10 minutes. It's a very vast subject, and I'm going to be writing about it for years to come, but I'll just try to cover quickly in 10 minutes what I can.
Wonderful. Thank you.
So, yeah, are you able to see my PPT? Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Are you seeing the whole thing, or are you seeing the notes view?
We see Dharma and Business by Vinay Kulkarni, opening slide.
Are you seeing the whole screen, or is it kind of um, let me do it this way?
Oh, the whole screen. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So
Now we see the.
there's a whole lot of
Okay, go ahead.
the topics. Yeah, so I'll quickly touch upon a few of these things. What is dharma, and what's the connection with ethical frameworks? Rule-based ethical frameworks versus dharmic ethical frameworks. Systems thinking and dharma, innovation, profitability, sustainability, and technology. How all these things are. See, the most of the frameworks we have right now, what I mean by ethical framework is the terms of engagement that an organization and even an individual, works out of when engaging with others, when engaging with, or for an organization, when it's engaging with its employees, with customers, and with the larger ecosystem. There's a terms of engagement. There's a foundational principles based on which it operates. So most of the ethical frameworks right now are rules based. So most employees have the experience of joining a company, and when they join, they sign an oath or something. Or if you take the medical science, the Hippocratic oath, right? So and all you're doing in any of those things, I'm taking an oath saying that I'm going to do this, do that. I'm not going to do this and do that. So it's just a kind of a commitment, and then there are rules. So when you have a rules-based framework, you have somebody who creates these rules, you have people who are supposed to follow the rules, and then you have entity or a set of people, let's say the police or whatever, that enforce the rules. So those are the kind of elements of a rules-based framework. But the rules-based framework has problems because situations are never black and white. And every situation has to be interpreted in its own merit. You have to get to the truth of the situation and do what is best for the maximum number of people concerned. And a rules-based framework doesn't support that. As soon as rules are published, already 40% will be violating that rule. Suppose I say everyone here should walk like a duck, already 40% can't do it. They're already violators, So there's going to be an attempt to work around the rules. So all we're saying is the ethical frameworks that guide organizations, institutions, individuals should be based on a real understanding of how a human being is constructed, how a human being functions, and psychology. So it's not just imposing rules, but also an understanding of consciousness. So consciousness is the hot topic today, where a lot of scientists are working on theories of consciousness. But if you go to India, the very foundation of civil of our earliest writings are the Vedas, which are the oldest text in the world, and they're all about consciousness. So the very starting point itself is consciousness. So as you might have heard of Sri Aurobindo, he says, true ethics is dharma, the right fulfillment and working of the higher nature, the right action, should have right motive, should be its own justification and not go limping on the crutches of greed and fear. So when you have a rules-based ethical framework, right, you are operating out of greed and fear. Right thing done for its own sake is truly ethical and ennobles this growing spirit. Right done in the lust for material reward or fear from the avenging stripes of the executioner or sentence of the judge may be eminently practical and useful for the moment, but it is not the least degree ethical. It is rather a lowering of the soul of man, or at least the principle is a concession to his baser animal and unspiritual nature. So what we're talking about is, instead of being regulated, being on your best behavior because a policeman is around, being on your best behavior because your boss is around, being on your best behavior because someone is watching. We are talking about a dharmic behavior which is independent of anyone is watching or not. It is self-regulated. So we're talking about self-regulated people, self-regulated organizations. So fundamentally, what is the concept of dharma? The definition is that which sustains is dharma. So now we have the World Economic Forum, Davos, everybody's talking about sustainability, etc. I'm going to be chairing a panel, next month. My alma mater is doing an international conference on sustainability with some German universities, right? Now, sustainability is the very foundation of Indian thought, because dharma is the foundation of Indian thought. And what is dharma? That which sustains a society, that which maintains social order, that which ensures the well-being and progress of humanity. It means everyone. So there is no division, there is no classification, there is no prejudice. Dharma is surely that which fulfills its objectives. Whatever creates conflict is adharma, opposite. Whatever puts an end to conflict. So the world is seeing so much conflict now, right? So if dharma is established, that means the conflict will be converted into harmony. So we have to find those dharmic principles. These apply to individuals, families, institutions, companies, and to countries. So it is really something that the whole world needs to look at right now. So what is it based on? Rita is the governing principle of the whole universe. The whole universe is operating on certain governing principles that are operating in nature, right? So the sun knows when to set and when to rise, right? The earth knows how to move. There's a Zen saying, when the springtime comes, the grass grows by itself. How does that happen? There is a some intelligence there in the nature, that, and it is based on some principles. Even your automobile, there is a auto cycle or some cycle that your engine is working on. You cannot directly touch that cycle. You can see that cycle, but it is operating. The cycle breaks, the engine breaks, and the engine breaks, your car stops, and the car stops, you can't move. So we are very concerned about not disturbing this this cycle of things. Rita, even the word ritual comes from Rita. It says we see things as being cyclical, right? The day and night cycle, the seasonal cycle, and so on. Satya is the manifestation of these governing principles that you see in the world. And dharma is once you're able to see the manifested truth, the action that comes out of is the dharma, right? So, if you take an organization, you have all these different departments. Now, they're all siloed. So, when manufacturing design department is thinking of a product or service, what is it thinking about? It is thinking, it may be given some directions from the CEO. It needs to be profitable. It needs to, perform at this level. It needs to do this and that. But when that product is actually produced, they may find that it is causing a lot of pollution. It is violating international environmental laws. It is destroying forests. It is causing havoc with people's health, right? So then another
Vinay,
department comes in, is pushed into action
Vinay,
afterwards. Yeah.
Vinay, just a time check. We're at time. Would it be possible to wrap
Right.
up so that we have at least a minute or two to ask a question or two?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. When I'm talking about product design, so you may find that the product is causing a lot of harm, and so when you discover after the fact that something is going wrong, then some department is pushed to band-aid or take corrective action. So instead of that, we can do an impact analysis from the get-go and include this thinking in the product design itself, so that basically you increase the number of stakeholders you have to include a larger stakeholder base, and do this thinking upfront when you're designing your product, so that the product works for the company, makes profit, but at the same time is in harmony with the rest of the universe, and it's not causing any trouble. That's the idea. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, it's a very complex topic. It takes
It's a
time.
lot. It's a lot. This is a couple-hour conversation. What would you like us to take away from this?
Main thing is that I think a lot of money and effort and manpower is put into enforcement, into getting individuals and companies to follow certain rules. But if we can start envisioning a world where people can self-regulate and companies can self-regulate, um, there was a time when India was doing that, and we had 30% of the world's GDP. So people shouldn't think that if I do this, I'm going to lose money or anything. It actually is can help you be more profitable, can help you be more innovative. So if we can, and I have a whole framework for how to become a dharmic organization. So if we start designing that, and it'll always start with the leader, activating the dharmic compass in the leader. So that's a whole conversation, but we need fundamentally dharmic leaders at the helm of companies, so that it percolates all the way down, and we create a society and world which is more harmonious.
So this is an area now that you're working on, and you're helping leaders and you're helping companies be more effective to be dharmic.
Yes. Yes.
Very good. How can we help?
I think first thing is because it's as a concept, it is not new as far as India is concerned, but even India has forgotten. So it's something first we need to have more conversations like this with a little more time, with the right, I would say, leaders who fundamentally what we're talking about is decision making. If we can change the way leaders make decisions, within 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, you start seeing a lot of change. So having those conversations with leaders who are interested in looking at it, thinking of decision making and organization building in a different way would be helpful if we can If I can get in front of those people and, right now, just it's a conversation to get them thinking about. And I've already had conversations in the Bay Area and many other places. And over the last 20 years, I've presented many, many concepts, and usually it takes a long time and a lot of effort. But this particular thing, I was shocked and surprised that people are able to get it if I even in 30 minutes. I've done 30-minute presentations, and then I asked myself, why is it? Why is it that they're able to get it so quickly? Then I realized that dharma is something intrinsic to a human being. Because of socialization and the education we have today, it's suppressed. But fundamentally, every human being wants to do what is best for all other human beings, and we just need to activate that.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing. Does anybody have either a question or a comment? What do people think?
Yeah, I would like to get reactions because I'm very curious to know what this group thinks. Anybody, Aparna?
Um, Hi, Vinay. Um, I think I quite agree and understand the theory that you're putting across, and I understand systems thinking and the way it all works. I've been in the corporate for a good 21 years, so I know exactly how businesses work and function as well. So I, while I know what you're saying makes 100% sense, but I guess we'll still have a long way to go before we can actually move to a dharmic organization, and where leaders, where we see that, I mean, for profit of a few dollars here and some rupees there are corners cut. There is, there are various methods and ways adopted. So I guess, unless everybody comes to that level playing field, saying that, we will do only everything that's right, or and create an ecosystem which makes you do something right or wrong, and therefore even at a larger global level, what happens is, which makes you do something that is right, dharmic or adharmic, that ways. I think unless all of this really comes together into a system, it could be a tall order to sort of get down to. But I'm really glad that you've embarked on this journey, and you're enabling and helping companies to come to that level of consciousness. So congratulations and all the very
Thank you.
best to you.
Thank you. Would like to have a talk with you offline.
Sure, definitely. Let's
So,
connect.
yeah,
Yeah,
if I
I
could get
think
us.
yeah, we'll get you guys connected for sure, and Aparna will speak next. But I just wanted to circle back and just say that as you've started to introduce these concepts over the past months, I was moved to understand more, and also kind of excited to understand about the concept that would be tied to India. In at least in my own kind of distorted way, I think of Japan and so much that the country has brought to manufacturing and business in terms of the Toyota production system, which was really based on Dr. Deming and others, but nonetheless, they adopted it and they instilled that in business, and they've become so critically important to the global way of doing business. America has its own stuff, certainly. It was, to me, very heartening to think about India bringing something to the table around a way of approaching business that was positive, that was sustainable, that was tapped into some of the things that I think are basically human, like you mentioned. And so I don't fully understand it yet, but I was encouraged and inspired, Vinay, by what you're sharing, and I look forward to learning more. Thank you for sharing today.
Thank you so much.
Let's switch to Aparna Ranadive, who we've known for many years. And I remember actually one of my favorite moments within Global Chamber was years ago when we launched at Global Chamber Mumbai. And I think it was like 1 o'clock in the morning or something. I was at Sky Song, and I zoomed in from wherever, a little bit younger than I am today. And I was just so excited and inspired that that Aparna had taken this idea and brought it halfway around the world in such a successful way. And so now to see how she's been progressing in her life amidst a lot of different things that have changed, including the recent passing of her father. So sorry to hear about that. That's a life-changing moment and one that impacts the rest of your life. Nonetheless, you've carried on and you've been successful and you've continued to modify your approach, and you've got a couple different things you're working on. So I thought it would be very beneficial for everyone to learn more about you and what you're doing, and so that we can help and support. Would you share, please?
Thank you so much, Doug, and good evening to everybody from Mumbai. It's really nice to come back to this forum after a long heist. Familiar faces, familiar names, and all the interaction. It's very nostalgic. So thanks, Doug, for giving me this opportunity. Really means quite a lot. And back then, this was, in fact, just before we started, I was telling Aarti that, or rather, we were exchanging notes, and we said it was 2019 September when we relaunched the Mumbai chapter, and we had held it at, we said which other better place than the World Trade Center, and we had it there, and the Bhimrajkas were all there in support, and it was absolutely wonderful as an experience. I will never forget it. So life has moved on from there. I used to be consulting at that time as well, and I still continue to do, but things have changed a little bit, not only on the personal front but even on the business front. So COVID did make a little bit of a dent, and we also realized that the way the world was functioning was very different, and it needed to function very differently. So what I'm going to quickly do, and also while all of this was happening, there is so much and more that's happening on the India front. There is, India has literally, as they would say, has come of age. There is a lot of changes, a lot of dynamic changes which are happening there. So while I'm not going to make it very staid and regular, I've just put down a few points. Can I just share my screen, Doug?
Sure.
Okay, just give me a moment, please. So I don't know how this thing works.
There should be a share button at the, let's see, where is it?
Yeah, I'm trying to get to my file from here, which is...
Yeah, you got to go there first for sure.
Yeah. So somehow it's not opening.
Yeah, keep it open first. Keep it up. Keep the
Okay,
file
I'm going
open
back again.
first.
Okay. No, for some reason I can't share it. Anyways, nonetheless, so let's not waste time on that. I'll quickly run through what I had in mind without the presentation. It's the one thing I learned in the corporate is sometimes technology tends to play truant, and that's where you have to literally kind of take it by the horns and work at it, right? So
You wanna
I'm
send it to
gonna
me? You wanna email it to me? I'll open it. You wanna send it to me quickly?
okay, I shall just quickly do that. Just give me a...
I'll
Sorry,
send it.
guys. I mean,
Yeah, I put my email address there.
okay, Shankar, I'm just sending it to you right here.
But it was not me. It was somebody else who said that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That
Who
was
is
me.
it?
It was
Oh,
me.
Vinay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we'll have to start with whatever. So I'm going to send it to Shankar. Shankar, just quickly, I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So while we're waiting, RT, how are you? Glad to see you back. What's
Yes,
going
I
on in
missed
your
it out.
world?
Well, I'm busy on my personal front as well as professional. Professional, I'm getting back to work again. And last month, my daughter delivered a baby girl, so I'm very busy with my granddaughter, having a great
Oh,
time with her.
oh my Lord. Congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you so much. So, and yes, work front, I'm getting back, preparing for the first event of the coming year. So, very soon I'll be sharing the details with you and everybody. So, working on both the fronts now at the moment, and a little bit getting stretched, I would say, but enjoying the journey of being a granny.
Shankar, I've
Fantastic.
sent it to you. Sorry.
Congratulations. Yeah. And while we're still waiting for Aparna,
Yeah, I just sent the presentation to Shankar. I'll bank on him.
okay. Shankar, we're waiting. Maybe just send it to Jem as well, Jemima at Global Chamber, and just in case that doesn't work. We hopefully will have, and we probably will have to go over a bit on Export League.
Aparna, I don't see it. Have you sent it by WhatsApp or?
On Gmail, on Gmail, on Gmail.
Oh, okay.
Maha, we might have to reschedule the conversation with Eugene, but at least Eugene can at least introduce Export League so that everybody can hear about it and what we hope and plan for that in India. And we can at least begin the conversation, I think.
Have you got it?
Eugene
No,
is from.
what I'm going to do is I'll send you Jemina's email to you.
Okay.
Would you like to just kind of talk through?
Yeah, that's what I was
In the
thinking.
meantime?
That is what I was thinking. Yeah. So, just to quickly run through what has been happening on the Indian environment. We've got a few quick things which have happened. So everything has, time is of the essence. Even in India, and so therefore things like quick retail and quick service restaurants have come up everywhere. So because of that, what happens is we tend to get food home ordered, and which reaches us within about 15 to 20 minutes from wherever across that the restaurant that you order it from. Quick retail has made grocery is being delivered within 7 to 10 minutes. So wherever that you are within the city or within the country, if you order it, it reaches you within 7 to 10 minutes. So that's a huge change from where we were earlier to now. The payment system, the payment gateway, the unified payment interface, the UPI, and in fact that's been a huge achievement, and a lot of international consul generals and chamber officers as well. They've tried this, going to vegetable vendors and to people where you actually just scan a QR code and you're making payments across. So we're no longer exchanging rupees in physical form as far as possible. So right from a vegetable vendor on the streets to the banking system, to buying your movie tickets, to paying at the restaurants, everything has become through a QR code. So the interface has become a lot more interactive. It's become a lot more easier. What it has done is that it has eliminated the entire system of exchanging money. So if there was a possibility of somebody asking for extra money, you don't need to do that anymore. It's just you have the amount coming to you, and you just scan your QR code, and that's about it. um, the the green revolution, as it were, the EV industry is picking up and growing in leaps and bounds. We've got roughly around the industry growing by about 66% CAGR, and where not only are the four wheelers coming to the in the electric mode, but now we've also got the two wheelers there. We've got the three wheelers, which used to be in other parts of the world, if you know it by the tuk tuk, we call it the rickshaw. So the rickshaws are on electric systems, and so are our local buses. So we've, literally the green revolution is, as far as fuel is concerned, is really taking up in a big way. Um, then you have a lot of GCCs, the Global Capability Centers, are coming up across the country. There are close to about 1,680 centers already established, and which means that the world is outsourcing their back offices to us. And it is so we already know about Apple manufacturing in India, but the world is, like I said, it's outsourcing their back office to us, and very soon this is going to become like an integrated India office for a lot of companies, whether it is in the US and UK, or in Europe and various other places. And because of that, and because of the highly skilled talent that we have, it is becoming a lot more reliable as a source for global companies to establish in India and start their global capability center. So that becomes a huge opportunity for global businesses to come to India and set up systems. Then the somebody should literally visit India to see how our roadways, our railways has and the number of airports have exponentially increased. We are perhaps the second largest. We have the second largest network of bridges and roadways across the country. The first being China, second are we. And it was, I mean, I was not familiar with this comparison some time back, but I was pleasantly surprised when I heard that, we are number two as far as the global network of roadways is concerned. And we're connecting far and wide. Just I was telling Maha some time back that last January we drove across from Mumbai to Chennai, and it was such a wonderful ride. The roads were so beautiful that there was just no, I mean, much against the belief that a lot of expats would have, that Indian roads are bad. Indian roads have come up a long way now. Other than that, we have the healthcare, the nutraceutical industry, which is growing, insurance is growing, renewable energy is picking up in a big way, IT, FMCG. Um, like Vinay was mentioning, yoga and ancient wisdom or ancient methods of health and well-being is the pet project of our Prime Minister, and he's laying an extra emphasis on everybody becoming healthy, eating healthy. So that is driving a lot of and not that alone, but the ecosystem is driving a lot of importance to the agricultural sector, which is why it is becoming more organized in nature. There is a lot more scientific method of growing crop and so on and so forth. So there's exciting times for India, these in the near future. We're headed towards a $50 trillion economy by 2047, and we're on its I mean, we've kind of slipped on certain milestones, but we're getting there in some way or the other. There was a growth rate projected of about 7%, and we've clocked in about 6.8% this year. I think there has been a lot of growth is palpable. You can actually see and sense growth happening. While at the World Economic Forum, a lot of MOUs were signed for Maharashtra alone as a state, and it is estimated that Maharashtra GDP will be in comparison, if not more, with that of Switzerland and Singapore and various other smaller countries in their own way. So again, Maharashtra becomes a very key manufacturing hub for the country. And so therefore, with the impetus that is given to Make in India, a lot of hubs which will come up across the country will be kind of contributing to that. In 2023, we had the G20 summit, where India was leading it as a president of the G20 summit. And apart from the global consensus that was there, we had the G20 summit, which was the state versions of the G20 were taken across the country in different states, including Kashmir, and which brought in a different focus to the entire country and different states, and which is why the business in those particular specific states has now started to look up, and they're very positive about how India will be doing business. So while all of this is happening, and there's change is the only thing that is, like they say, change is the only constant. How could we remain any behind than that? And what we have done is, in order that, with all of these rapid changes happening in the business environment, in the economic environment, um, a lot of people, or rather there is a lot of chatter around being adaptable as organizations, being resilient as organizations, developing the agility to live up to that change, or to pivot according to that change, but nobody really knows how to do it. So with about close to about 16 years of experience in understanding, studying and researching different industries which have pivoted to change, a classic being, nobody had ever thought about how COVID would disrupt the entire world, right? So how the medical fraternity, how hospitals, how doctors, how the entire system literally pivoted to make sure that this entire thing, this monster was catered to and was countered. And so similarly, you have these kind of situations coming up even within the military. So we've put all these sciences together, and we've come up with something called as the future fluence. Now future fluence deals with or rather helps businesses adapt to the rapid changes in the environment or in the business environment. I already had my consulting practice, which was into executive search and into leadership consulting. So we've combined these two entities together to form a full services business consulting practice, and which essentially looks at helps businesses in different forms and ways. So what we do is, one is of course the whole mentoring part, and the business consulting part for organizations on strategic growth, on transformation and related consulting projects. We help them find the right kind of talent within India and also internationally for specific key leadership positions. There is communication consulting as well as a key offering within the system, because it's not just what you do as business, but it's also about how you communicate within the business, what gets communicated, how it gets communicated. There's a whole method in that madness, right? So there is a communication consulting vertical that we have. There's risk and business advisory, so risk consulting and advisory, because in order for business continuity to happen, you cannot not have risk consulting. So there's risk consulting which is there. And then of course then there's coaching on expat coaching. So a lot of now, with the influx of foreign companies and foreign professionals into India, it is becoming even more relevant and more important that they understand how India as a country, as a working environment functions. It used to be my favorite term that India's many countries rolled up into one country, right? So every 100 yards, you have the dialect changing, you have the way of doing business changing, and all of that. So in order to be able to adapt to this ever changing environment, we coach expats on that. And then there are mentoring systems and mentoring opportunities that we have. I am me and my colleague, we're global mentors to large global organizations like TCS, and we're mentoring their global leaders on a very regular basis. We have a online academy, which is the online part is coming up about, is getting developed, but we framed the online academy. It's called the Future Fluence Academy, wherein we will be conducting all these kind of new age and new age related kind of programs on the online way. Then we've also developed a system of taking CEOs and CXOs through impact kind of leadership sessions, which means that you as a CEO, you're not just impacting your own organization, but along with your own organization, you will be also impacting the ecosystem. So what is your impact on the ecosystem is something that we are helping to create through journeys, through, we call it the CEO expedition. So that is another thing that we do. Now, in addition to all of this, we have, like I always said, India is such a vibrant place, and it is, it goes through a lot of its own, different aspects. So what we can offer here, so this is all that we are doing. What is it that we can offer, or what is it that we are looking for from our global, counterparts and friends and colleagues, is the fact that we are a truly Indian company. So therefore, we understand the diverse viewpoints in India. We understand how the businesses work, and as well as from the Indian perspective, as well as from the West and the global South, like they call it. And we can quickly pivot. In fact, while we talk about pivoting to changes, we ourselves also do that. So we change our ways of working, our systems, everything, to suit the client needs. So whether it is on their site, or it is online, or through a hybrid method. So what is it that we are looking at, or what is it that we can offer, is quick adaptation to rapid changing related training, mentoring, and business transformation consulting projects, um, global learnings and CEO impact leadership sessions, setting up GCC centers in India, and finding leadership talent for the India business or globally, culture coaching for CXOs, of course, and also helping them through scheduled visits across the country wherever that they are hoping to set up business. Um, in addition to that, and a slightly different viewpoint, is that we're also exploring possibilities of, since everything is now concentrating on manufacturing in India, if there is anybody who wants to look at India as a manufacturing hub, we will be able to facilitate that conversation as well. So which means that you have an idea, you have a product that you want to design and want to develop and want to manufacture, then we can enable that and we can facilitate that here in India. And obviously you need to have the funds to get that going. But that said, that facility, at the end-to-end technology and the manufacturing capability is all available here. So that is something that we can enable. And then my favorite, which was,
Aparna,
yeah, yes,
we're a bit past the time, and I'm
okay,
just wondering, would it
yeah,
be possible
one last point, that's about
to
it.
wrap up, and then we'll need to shift the export league conversation to another venue, and so I've just sent an email to
Okay,
several of you to have that. So what we'd love to do, Aparna, is wrap up. Have any questions related to your
sure,
conversation, and
sure,
then if
not a
anybody
problem.
else has anything they'd like to share, and then we'll wrap up. So please go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
No, no, not a problem. In fact, my background suggests that was the last slide, that, through the CEO expeditions, we can also help anybody wanting to come to India, experience India in the real India sense, so that's my all-time favorite. So that's what it was. So please, I'm open to questions if there are any.
But
I
in
think,
terms of, oh, please go ahead.
no, sorry. Please go ahead. Done.
Oh, is that RT?
Yes,
Oh, please go ahead. Ladies first.
thank you. So, Aparna, this is really exciting from the last time we have spoken. I think I see that you have added many more segments, but I'll be having a lot of queries and questions. I think I'll get in touch with you personally to,
Sure, let's connect.
uh,
Yeah, happy to
I
connect.
mean, like, see and find some synergies over there. So,
Sure,
I
sure.
found both the Vinay's and your presentations interesting, especially Vinay's concept. It's very, very different from what I've heard so far. So, yes, with you, of course, I will get in touch. And of course, Vinay, I would like to get in touch with you personally also. So, yeah, we'll do
Sure,
that.
sure.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for that,
Sure.
Arti. Let's connect. Yeah.
Sure. Kate, I just want to add just one thing that I've always known Aparna as being very efficient and having great leadership. Now that I see that it's all segmentized and ready to go to market and we can cash on it, please include me in your team as an extended associate from Ahmedabad. and like your very approach, and also Vinay's approach, because I have slightly moved away from anything survival-oriented business and going to Dharma, which is basically towards what you call as a thriving economy. So I'm very focused on collaborations, and I'm very focused on connecting everybody and anybody possible in a way that finally leads to some sort of a release from just doing what is in it for me. So I want to co-create something, and that's my new agenda in 2025. So please reach out to me wherever possible so I can make those connections, which is what Doug always meant. And it has dawned on me that it's great to have this great team going, and we should all collaborate and bring the world to India. Thank you.
Thank you, Shankar. Any other questions or thoughts about Aparna's
So
chat?
yeah, if I can, so from what I understood is, I know you're doing a lot of different things, but one of the things is helping US companies to come and do business in India, or basically to understand India in a way that they can
Right,
learn how to set up
right.
here,
Not just US, but global companies. Yes,
global companies.
yes,
And you're based in Mumbai,
yes.
and so I'm based in Bengaluru, and
Okay.
I've just set up a kind of a hub, a learning hub, uh, which I have myself designed a place for immersive learning, workshop space for
Mm-hmm.
immersive learning, and collaboration meetings, brainstorming meetings, so where we can create new ideas.
Okay.
Also, a bistro, the same place, and a cultural books and gift store. So it's like
Oh,
many things roll into one, and it's also a very meditative space where we can have um, very deep business conversations that lead to kind of new ideas, not the same run-of-the-mill stuff, but I'm interested in, so innovation is not just in product. There can be innovation in thought. There's an innovation in leadership. There can be innovation in so many different things. So you have to break the boundaries of even the definitions of concepts and words. So
right.
I invite you to, if you want to have meetings in Bangalore, you want to come down here, and anybody else in this, in fact, I'd like to host an event for Global Chamber India members uh, at my place. So I leave it to Doug. Uh, you know, so it's an invitation. But I'll get in touch with you and hope to have a conversation.
Sure, Vinay. It'll be really nice.
Let's
That's
do
great.
that. Thank you. And anybody else? But before we end, I'd like everybody to at least introduce Yu Jin Son. And so I've sent an email, and so thank you. I think Maha recognized I did not copy her on the email, so I've now copied her. Yu Jin Son came to Global Chamber through the Korea West program. We've typically had an intern from the Korea West program. She graduated from a university in Ulsan, South Korea. And so she's a graduate, and she's really talented, and she's very interested in exporting. And so one of her programs is to lead the Export League program within Global Chamber. This is a signature event that we've done in the past. We just kicked off Export League Phoenix. We'd like to kick off every month a new export league somewhere in the world, and we'd love to do that in India soon. And we recognize we need to spend some time to talk about that. The idea is to reach out to the exporting community, do training, do some judging of whether they're ready and how ready they are. And then at the end of that, gives the winners, the best ones out of that, some contacts so they can be successful in their exporting. So the benefit to them certainly is to go through the process and to be better prepared and to be better trained in exporting. the benefit to Global Chamber is to be able to be connected to a variety of more exporters and certainly to understand who some of the better ones are. Eugene, could you just take a couple minutes and explain a little bit more about Export League? We won't go through the whole presentation, but could you just spend a couple minutes to introduce yourself and talk about Export League? Oh, Eugene, are you there?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, thank you. By the way, the first time Eugene spoke in public in English was a couple weeks ago, and she was amazing. She did a great job to a big group in Phoenix, and so this is a much lower pressure.
Hi everyone. As Doug introduced me, my name is Yu Jin Son, and I'm working here at the HQ of Global Chamber as a project manager since last December. And today I was just plan to explain you guys what Expert League is, but because we ran out of time, so I'm just quickly explain what Expert League is. So Expert League is encourages and trains exporters to be more successful, and in particular, they may connect with the resources that they need and to clients in their target markets globally. So in 2020, we held the first Expert League in Phoenix, and we have this India today, and we're planning to kick off in Sydney or Seoul, South Korea, and Japan, and so on. So if I had more time, I wanted to explain how is our Expert League steps, and who's our targets, and what is our timeline for future. But today we don't have enough time, so I'm just finished my presentation, and I hope to explain more in detail in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Eugene. We'd like to connect and understand how this export thing works so that we might be able to do something from Ahmedabad.
Thank you. Are you here?
Prana, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, okay, because Eugene just finished the presentation.
Yeah, I know.
I finished my presentation.
Okay, very good. Any additional questions? And if not, what we'll do is we'll set up a separate meeting. And Maha had to leave. She had a meeting that she needed to go to. And she's the one that really has expressed a very strong interest in moving this forward with India. And so whenever we're ready and whenever she's ready, we'll move forward. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Eugene, for sharing. Before we end the program, any other questions or announcements or anything else that anyone would like to share? And hearing none, really appreciate everybody's time today. Thank you for participating. I think we learned a lot. Vinay and Aparna and Gunjan and now Eugene hopefully have given you some things to think about, and look forward to the conversation we have next month. I think it's already scheduled on the agenda. Jem, do you know when that is?
Sorry.
Do you know when the next India event is?
Okay, just a moment.
Okay.
The next one will be February 26th.
February 26th. And so we're looking for presentations. And so at that point, what we'll do, hopefully we'll have Export League fully defined with dates and things like that, and be able to share it more completely. Gunjan had asked earlier, is there anybody else that's not in India here? And I saw Lothar, I think he had to drop out, but Lothar was here and Terry is here. But other than that, it's good to see folks from India. If you're part of Global Chamber, great, thank you. Thanks for your support and collaboration. And if you're not yet, you reach out to us. You can always capture any of us at info@globalchamber.org. As we grow this year across the country, we hope you'll participate. We hope to continue to help and support companies both exporting and with investing in India. Thanks, everybody.
Hello?
Have a great rest of your day.
Hi.
Bye-bye.
No.
Thank you.